Welcome to our more in-depth review of Man of Steel, Geeklings, and consider this your final warning, folks. Plot details and spoilers abound after this point. Let's start from the beginning. I thought it was really cool to finally see a living, breathing Krypton on film. The crystalline planet from the 1978 film was cool, don't get me wrong, but I found it to be rather sterile and abandoned. This time around, we get a real sense of the alien planet and its history, though in my head I always imagined Krypton to be akin to a city planet like Coruscant from Star Wars. So, good old Jor-El does what he does best, and he approaches the Kryptonian High Council and tells them how much they suck, and they are fucked for their squandering of resources. Wink wink, nudge nudge, beat you over the head with a message. Enter Zod, who has also had it with the Council's bullshit, and handles it in a much less nicer way than Jor-El. You definitely feel a sense of history between Zod and Jor-El, a dynamic never tapped into before. As I said before in the spoiler-free review, there was something a little off about Zod's performance, but the more we thought about it, the more it made sense for this version of the classic baddie. See, Kryptonians are bred via bioengineering, so their future is pretty much planned out as their DNA is manipulated to be a soldier or a scientist, etc., which validates Zod's one-note nature. He was bred that way. Still, I felt there was something about Shannon's performance that definitely improved as the film went on. However, I still don't think he hit that iconic mark that perhaps someone else might have. I thought it was really interesting that how in this predestined world of genetically modified beings, Kal-El truly is the last son of Krypton, the first natural birth in ages. Before his murder at the hands of Zod, Jor-El sends his son to Earth along with a codex, which is essentially a mapped-out Kryptonian genome. Zod is then captured and sentenced to the Phantom Zone along with his conspirators. Soon after, Krypton's core explodes, thus rendering it a big dead hunk of stuff, which can be used against the Man of Steel in future sequels. We jump to Clark 33 years later on a journey to find himself. An impressive rescue from people from a burning oil rig, among other things, build a legend of this miraculous Good Samaritan. This, of course, is noticed by the Daily Planet's Lois Lane, which hunts him down as the story of the century. This journey is intercut brilliantly with Clark's Smallville upbringing. Some of the most effective scenes are of little Clark's powers manifesting themselves at random times and his inability to control them. We only wish more of these elements could have been incorporated, especially in scenes with his father Jonathan, who was instrumental in molding him into the man he will become. Jonathan stresses that Clark needs to be careful about when he will expose himself to the world, as he feels they are not ready. A belief so powerful that he would rather sacrifice himself than have Clark or his abilities be known. When Clark discovers the ship that I will refer to as the Fortress of Solitude, he gets all the answers he was searching for and some new duds to boot. It's hard not to smile when we see Clark emerge from the fortress as Superman, and even harder when we see him test his limits and take to the sky for the first time. After Zod and his peeps make contact with the Earth, it really does become one big action scene, okay? Now that, while being thrilling as hell, would have sent me into a diabetic coma if action was metabolized like sugar. I will say it again. This is a direct result of Superman Returns being a snooze fest.
Even though you've been raised with a human being, you are not one of them.
What? Also, I know you gotta do what you gotta do, WB, but the product placement in this film rivals that of Cokes in Superman 2.
Taco Bell, product placement with Taco Bell. Injarito, macho burrito.
Pow! Right through Sears! Oh my gosh, come to think of it, I need a new fridge. Pow! Right through IHOP! Man, I hope no debris falls into someone's Rudy Tooty fresh and fruity breakfast. Rudy Tooty, fresh and fruity. It was kinda hard to swallow Lois knowing about Clark's identity this soon, but then again, some people have said that in past incarnations of Lois, that was her biggest character flaw. She spends so much time with Clark Kent and Superman, how does she not put that shit together? But that was not the case here. I think it would have worked better if she did not outwardly learn his identity, and at the end when Perry introduces her to Clark Kent, you can see that recognition in her eyes, but it goes unsaid. The character of Jenny was pretty much utterly useless. I mean, could you honestly say that you gave a shit when she was in trouble? Fuck no. You wanna know why you gave zero shits? Because they cut a bunch of her scenes out in the beginning. Therefore, there is no character development. Apparently, this was due to fan backlash over her being a gender-swapped version of Jimmy Olsen. Other reports say she is, in fact, Jimmy's sister Jenny, but, according to her name tag, that ain't the deal. So what the hell is she? I mean, what the shit, that Kryptonian codex made more sense. Regardless, she added nothing to the film, and her big scene fell flat because there was no context behind it. So the biggest issue we have with this film is Superman's Killing of Zod. Can you think of anything else so unlike Superman to do, especially in this stage of the game? You just put the fucking cape on, dude, now you're snapping necks. Sure, I get it, Zod pushed all the wrong buttons, but there had to be a better way to incapacitate him. Come on, huh? I don't know. To have him kill someone out of the gate like that makes me feel kind of weird. Sure, he had the appropriate emotional response afterwards, but save a bombshell like that. What about escalation? You can't just snap a dude's neck and get cute when things get worse. Superman has always been about restraint, okay? So this is how I would have liked to see this moral choice play out. That should have been saved for Superman's battle with Darkseid in a future Justice League film. Superman has some years under his belt, he is a symbol of truth and justice, and Darkseid pushes him to give his powers their all. Darkseid gives Superman no choice but to break that sacred rule. Imagine his interaction with Batman after something so huge. It would be an action that no matter how costly, Batman would never condone it, and he would never let Superman forget it. Then more than ever, Batman would feel that Superman just can't be trusted anymore, and that he is just a ticking time bomb waiting to go off. Fuck, that would be cool. Instead, you waste the bullet in the chamber by blowing your load too early. So, where do we go from here? We indeed know that LexCorp exists in the Metropolis, and Lex is the next logical step for Man of Steel 2, especially since somebody has to rebuild after the destruction.
Did I do that?
We also know that Bruce Wayne exists in this world because of that satellite Easter egg. Did you catch that? So if this is indeed a foundation for an eventual World's Finest film, or even a Justice League, then the seeds are already being sown. We definitely can't wait to see what's in store next, and the character is Save in Henry Cavill's capable, very capable, tights. Meh. Till next time, stay geeky, my friends.